Rudy Giuliani has hit a new low, even for him, and it's all caught on tape. My name is Dina Sayegh Doll for the MeidasTouch Network. Let's break this down. Now, a former employee, Noelle Dunphy, has filed a civil lawsuit in New York. It's a 22-count civil lawsuit, and she alleges quite a lot against Giuliani, and she can back it up with audio transcripts of recordings that she made with Giuliani, of conversations that they had, if you want to call it conversations. Now, what she's alleging is that he sexual assault against her, sexual battery against her. She's alleging a hostile work environment, gender discrimination. All of these counts she lays out in this story. So let's get into it here. Now, she herself is a Columbia graduate, been in business for 22 years, and she had been in a severe domestic violence relationship. So at the time, this was 2019, she was being offered this job by Giuliani. Back then, he was kind of still in the height of his power. Trump was still in office. He was known as Trump's personal lawyer. So she saw this as this great opportunity. He somehow convinces her to take the job without yet getting paid, saying that because of his really difficult divorce with his ex-wife, he can't be seen as moving money around just yet. So why don't you hold on? She decides to listen to this, believing in these promises. Again, this is the personal attorney to the president. She's thinking, he's good for the money, but then it gets much worse. And he does things such as come into her guest room, lies down on the bed, pulls his pants down. And part of the complaint, there actually includes a photo, if you remember the Borat movie, where Giuliani does the same thing. And that now is evidence in this complaint because it shows a pattern of what he's willing to do to women. We all saw the movie, or if you didn't, maybe you will, but you can see clearly what he does there. And there's a photo of it as well here in the complaint. And she's saying he did that to her as well. So he does things like this over time, and it escalates. He asks her even during the pandemic on video conferences to disrobe. He ends up having her, without her consent, perform oral sex and intercourse. And this is part of the sexual assault and battery claim that she is having. But what he says about others, I'm going to go ahead and just read directly from the complaint, because this is just almost so shocking that somebody who's a lawyer, and at this time, still has some positions of power, is so willing to say these kind of things, knowing he could get recorded, and also say it to somebody who he's harassing and not paying. You would think he would have better judgment, but he makes comments like this. He makes derogatory comments about Jewish men and imply that their penises were inferior due to natural selection. The language he uses is much cruder. This is the language that he uses. But the complaint, doesn't quite go there. Giuliani also told Miss Dunphy that black guys hit women more than anybody else does, and so do Hispanic guys. It's in their culture. Part of her count is the racist, sexist, hostile work environment that he created, and you can see here by these comments. Giuliani said, also, Jews want to go through their freaking Passover all the time. Man, oh man, get over the Passover. It was like 3,000 years ago. The Red Sea parted, big deal. It's not the first time that happened, end quote. Giuliani made comments about, quote, freaking Arabs, end quote, and Jews. Giuliani demeaned and sexualized Hillary Clinton and mocked her body. Giuliani demeaned and sexualized Margaret Thatcher and wondered about the effect she would have on his penis. Of course, he goes after the two most powerful women because, being so sexist, you can't handle the fact that women can have any power. Giuliani said, the complaint goes on to say, Giuliani said, if my life depended on it, if I had to make love to Nancy Pelosi, I couldn't do it. I'd have to die, end quote. Of course, he's not going to leave out the most powerful woman in the world at that time. Okay, the complaint goes on to say Giuliani referred to employee Vanessa Ryan, who is Maria Ryan's daughter, as, quote, fat, and said that he felt bad for her because she was fat. He further said he was, quote, trying not to feed her, end quote. Giuliani disparaged a female lawyer because of her breast size. That is on the audio transcript. You can read the transcript right here. It's so offensive. I'm not going to read what he said. But again, this is part of an audio recording that she has. That is very persuasive evidence to have an actual audio recording of what he's saying. It's going to make it much easier for her to be able to prove this in trial. Okay, the complaint goes on to say Giuliani made a series of derogatory remarks about the LGBT community, including Giuliani claimed that Mayor Michael Bloomberg, quote, became gay because his wife left him. Giuliani named a prominent Republican as gay. Giuliani used the word, quote, fag to refer to actor Matt Damon. Giuliani mocked Senator Elizabeth Warren as, quote, Pocahontas was a really hot babe and Warren does not look like a babe. She looks like a person in search of a gender, end quote. Giuliani later said he was, quote, very hot for Warren. Giuliani named a prominent lawyer who he believed would require $10 million for gay sex. Giuliani then insisted that he was the only one of his male friends who would turn down any amount of money to have sex with a man. Giuliani said to Ms. Dunphy at various times in statements that were recorded, quote, I'm going to make it a little bit painful, unquote, quote, stick it up your ass, end quote. And it goes on, more and more offensive. More offensive. It's hard to even read this. Here she was listening to this. Here he was saying it. The sexism, the racism, the anti-Semitism, all very obvious and clear. This is yet another low for Giuliani. It seems to be a very strong case against him. She's asking for punitive damages. She's asking for $10 million. This is in the state of New York, where once he was the beloved hero, and he definitely is not anymore. So I would this should be in the list of something he should be afraid of. And this, with her audio transcripts, reveals himself. And no wonder him and Trump are friends with the Access Hollywood tapes, thinking they can say and do anything to the women around them.
Hey, Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.